The time is 10 a.m. on WKYT Midmorning. The latest from Paris, where Secretary of State John Kerry has met with France's president amid an international manhunt.
Charlie Sheen makes it official why he's coming out now about his HIV diagnosis.
And a Kentucky native pelts out a Christian hymn to another standing ovation in front of a live audience.
This is WKYT Midmorning.
Good morning. Welcome in. It's great to have you with us on WKYT. We were just talking about the new recruit.
And you asked me his name. I have to look at it very carefully. Call him Bam.
Bam for now. We're going to work on it.
But we'll have a little bit more about that story.
Big details on that shortly in all the news. Had a little rain around these parts this morning.
Well, and maybe it's a good night because we've got a great basketball game, so stay inside if those showers are still around here, if it's a little damp out there.
Kentucky and Duke later on this evening. Let's check in
with a little game.
Micah right now. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, that rain's trying to move on out. Still look for that up toward the northern zones, eastern zones. But once that pushes on out, which those are sprinkles right there, once that moves on out, there's nothing to the south of us. So we're really clearing some things on out, and then that's going to be the case the rest of the day. The stuff you see back toward western Kentucky, that actually stays to the west of us. So we really don't expect much more rain throughout the day. Temperatures are in the 50s, but we'll actually finish off right there in the 60s once we start getting some peaks of sunshine here or there. That morning rain chance there in the forecast, and then we head throughout tomorrow. That's when we start to pick up on a lot of rain, and I'll talk about how much you can expect and when it moves on in coming up.
And the latest news at mid-morning is that Secretary of State John Kerry has wrapped up a meeting with French President Francois Hollande today following the terror attacks in Paris.
Kerry's visit comes amid an ongoing international manhunt for suspects connected to the violence that killed more than 130 people. Jonathan Vigliotti has the latest now from Paris.
In a show of solidarity, Secretary of State John Kerry met with French President Francois Hollande in Paris this morning. The U.S. pledged to stand by France as the country grieves for dozens of people killed in last week's terror attacks.
We're absolutely committed to increasing our efforts in every degree possible, and thoughtfully, carefully.
Kerry's visit comes as France intensified attacks against ISIS militants responsible for the carnage. Overnight, the French military reportedly dropped more than a dozen bombs on the group in Syria, destroying a command and training center in the city of Raqqa. France has urged the U.S. to join an international coalition along with Russia against ISIS, despite Russia's loyalty to Syrian President Bashar al-Assad.
I just believe that it would be exceptionally difficult to convince the Russians to abandon Assad, and I think it would be even harder to convince the Assad government and the moderate opposition to come together.
Authorities across Europe have conducted more than 150 raids as they search for suspects connected to the terror attack. Among them, 26-year-old Salah Abdeslam, who allegedly drove attackers to the Bataclan concert hall. The alleged mastermind behind the operation, Abdelhamid Aboud, is believed to be in Syria. Jonathan Vigliotti, CBS News, Paris.
And French President Francois Hollande is expected to put forward legislation today to extend a state of emergency in that country that would give law enforcement and the military greater search and arrest powers.
The attacks in Paris have led to a partisan and divisive issue in this country. More than 20 governors are trying to block refugees from settling in their states. Many of them are worried that terrorists will get into the U.S. by posing as refugees. Kentucky Governor-elect Matt Bevin shares those concerns. In a statement, he said in part, quote, "My primary responsibility as governor of Kentucky will be to protect the citizens of the Commonwealth. This is why I am opposing the resettlement of Syrian nationals until we can better determine the full extent of any risks to our citizens." Bevin's stance is at odds with current Kentucky Governor Steve Beshear, who says Kentucky should do, quote, "the Christian thing" and welcome all refugees who have passed extensive background checks.
Public safety is one of the top priorities of a governor, and we're going to vet these people. We already do, and we're going to do that to make sure that they're who they say they are, but assuming that they're victims, we need to step up and do our part.
Governor Beshear will only be the governor for the next 3 weeks. We're told that 3 families have fled Syria and have already settled in central Kentucky. Bevin could try to block any more from coming here after he is sworn into office on December 8th.
New on WKYT Mid-Morning, Kentucky State Police have identified the trooper injured in a crash involving a horse. It happened around 1:15 this morning in Rockcastle County on Highway 150 near Broadhead. Police say trooper Adam Hensley crashed into the horse that ran out in front of him. The crash killed the horse and caused severe damage to the trooper's cruiser. Hensley was flown to UK hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The mother of a murdered Kentucky girl is talking about her child's tragic death. Investigators say 7-year-old Gabby Doolin was found murdered Saturday night behind Allen County Scottsville High School. She was there watching her brothers play football when her family says she disappeared. Her brother and her mother were emotional when talking about Gabby.
I never thought anything like this would happen to my baby. Never in a million years. I thought she was safe because every time we had been there, she knew I told her where she could go and where she couldn't go.
I'm gonna miss her. She was always so happy about everything. No matter what was going on, she was always happy.
The little girl's murder remains a mystery. This morning, there's no indication that police have identified any suspects.
An Ohio judge has spared a Kentucky killer his life. The judge sentenced Daniel French to life in prison without parole. French, who is from Madison County, admitted to killing 87-year-old Barbara Howe in Ohio in 2012. The judge said French will die in prison. What started out as a small spaghetti dinner to help the family of a fallen Richmond police officer turned into a much larger event. The Madison County Circuit and District Court clerks teamed up to host a fundraiser for Officer Daniel Ellis's family. Hundreds of people ended up turning out to show their support. Organizers say last night's event raised at least $11,000 for the Ellis family. There's another fundraiser in the works. Today, Papa John's in Richmond will be donating 100% of their proceeds to the Ellis family.
Former 2.5 Men star Charlie Sheen says he has HIV. In an interview this morning on Today, the 50-year-old says he tested positive for the virus that causes AIDS about 4 years ago. Sheen said some people in his inner circle who he told about his diagnosis managed to extort close to $10 million from him. Drug and alcohol use have marred Sheen's personal and professional life in recent years. He was kicked off CBS's 2.5 Men in 2011 after an explosive meltdown. The show that debuted in 2003 made Sheen one of TV's highest paid actors and, at its peak, was TV's most watched sitcom. The Cincinnati Bengals are off to their best start in franchise history, but their winning streak came to an end in a late Monday night game. The Bengals' perfect season fell by the wayside thanks to a tough Texans defense and the Bengals' inability to get the ball in the end zone. And it was a low-scoring game. 10-6 was the final score. The Bengals fall to 8-1. But they won't have much time to think about this loss as they have just 6 days to prepare for a tough Arizona Cardinals team on Sunday night.
A disappointment for the Bengals, but they've sure got a good season going.
I know it was perfection, but
right.
you know, we'll see how they pick themselves back up. Move on. Well, just how good is this young UK basketball team?
That is the question. We'll find out tonight when Kentucky takes on Duke. The two top 10 rated teams will play tonight in Chicago in the State Farm Champions Classic. Coach John Calipari says he is still working on developing a strategy with his young team. Playing a heavyweight like Duke so early in the season will test the undefeated Wildcats. Tonight's UK Duke game is at 7:30 on ESPN. And speaking of UK basketball, Coach Calipari has just landed a top 10 recruit.
Edris Bam Adebayo, a center out of North Carolina, made it official this morning on ESPN's Mike and Mike show. We'll have much more on his announcement coming up on WKYT News at noon.
Well, he looks excited with his decision.
And I hope I was close on the name.
I think you were.
Bam.
That's pretty good.
That's great. He's coming this way.
That's right. Well, a Kentucky man is continuing to wow the world with his amazing voice.
Harlan County native Jordan Smith took the stage last night for his latest live performance on NBC's The Voice, and he certainly did not disappoint.
And all I have needed, thy hand hath provided.
fabulous performance. Smith chose an unconventional song, performing the Christian hymn, Great is Thy Faithfulness. He got a standing ovation from all 4 judges. They complimented him on his song choice, given all the tragic events that have happened in the world over the past week. You can download Jordan Smith's performance from last night on iTunes.
Welcome back. It's mid-morning on WKYT. Think happy thoughts and take a trip to Neverland. Lexington Christian Academy is presenting Peter Pan and Wendy.
And we're happy to be joined by Emily Wolf, the co-director of the production, along with Josie Jager and Ellie McCallum, 6th graders at LCA. Welcome. Glad to have you in here. And love the costumes. They're great.
They certainly are. And we have some budding actors here. Well, tell us about Peter Pan and Wendy, Emily.
It's just basically it's based on the original story by J.M. Barrie, and Doug Rand did an adaptation for just a simple play for kids. And then we've gotten the drama club back together at the intermediate school and then auditioned kids, and we had about 33 in the whole cast. So we're very excited to present it.
That's got to be a lot of fun. Okay, Peter Pan here. What's it like to be in a production like this?
It's really fun. There's lots of really happy sets and beautiful scenery.
Mm-hmm. What do you like best about your role?
Peter Pan's really funny, and he always jokes around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, well, it's a great character to play. And Hook, you feel a little empowered with that Hook. What's it been like to take on that role?
It's really fun. He's so energetic, and there's a lot of action with this role. I just love being a part of it and being with the friends that help you through it.
And you have both been on the stage before, right? Or this is something that you're interested in, acting? Yeah? Mm-hmm. Tell us about that a little bit.
Well, I've acted all my life. I've done little plays with my family, and it's just grown from there.
And you?
Me and my friends, we would get together and we would pick out a book together, and we would do a little skit for our parents, and it's just been really fun. And I finally decided to do that in the school and actually on a stage.
On the real stage.
It's going to be in front of more than just your parents doing a skit. That's
yes.
right. Emily, tell us when the productions are. When does it all open up?
Our productions are Friday and Saturday, the 20th and 21st, and they start at 7:30 p.m. And so opening night this Friday.
Can anybody come?
Yes, anyone can come. This is an appropriate show for absolutely everybody. The whole family and any person would enjoy it, from the youngest child to the oldest adult.
Well, it sounds like a lot of fun. Lexington Christian Academy. Thanks for coming. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hope you have big crowds.
Oh, yes.
All right.